Center. I am Ian, this is Ashani, Donovan, and Stephen, the pop culture panel on the National. You can see us on TV and also on Facebook and Twitter during the National tonight, but this is a live opportunity to talk about some of those topics beforehand. Also, the atrium for the CBC building is just a couple of feet that way, and you will hear strange music wafting up from the atrium. Don't be alarmed, don't adjust your set, it's just where we happen to be. We were talking Kanye West, Taylor Swift, ancestry DNA, weirdly, and our favorite topic, favorite sort of recommendations for people to watch, or in Stephen's case, not to watch. Yeah. But let's start with Kanye West and yesterday's performance in the White House, 10 minutes, many people describing it as a rant. You are literally, Ashani, shaking your head.
I mean, I think it is exactly what you just said. It was a performance. You know, this was given so much media attention, and it was literally a 10-minute rant of Kanye talking at the President of the United States about everything from Montessori to time being a construct. It was nonsensical, and I think it's really dangerous to normalize this as something that is okay and it's funny, because this is not okay. We should not be talking about this. There are huge issues in the world right now.
I forgot to mention that I'm holding on to my colleague's phone here for two reasons. First of all, I have a BlackBerry and it doesn't get Google Chat, but also Simi has set up her phone so that if you have questions, you can send them to us and they'll be passed on to me, and questions about those topics that I mentioned or anything else. So you were saying that we shouldn't be talking about Kanye?
I mean, we should, because it's getting attention and this is what's happening, but I think it's a problem that we have a president, or the US has a president, that's inviting a hip hop artist to advise him on policy.
Donovan, when we talked about this a little bit earlier, you talked about just the range of reactions you had, including anger.
Yeah, and I think, you know, to your point, part of the issue is the things that Kanye was saying was many times nonsensical, and many times it's factually incorrect. And I actually don't have an issue with celebrities if they want to be a part of the political process, and if politicians want to lean on them to have a speaker box to speak to a big audience about important things. That's not what we saw. And so when Kanye talks about the fact that Chicago is the murder capital of the world, when it's not the murder capital of the United States, it's actually 25th, I mean, that's an issue because, to your point, he's normalizing going ahead and saying things that aren't true, something that the president is doing literally every day via microphones and via Twitter. And that's seriously an issue, not just for journalists, but for people who want a true democracy.
Well, I just think this has happened. This is the world we live in. We live in a world where celebrity has triumphed over everything. It's triumphed over literature. It's triumphed over architecture. It's triumphed over food. And it's certainly triumphed over American politics. And it's, you know, I mean, not to be frank, it's also triumphed over our politics, right? Like, we have a celebrity prime minister, right? Like, and everywhere in the world where celebrity goes, celebrity just drives out everything else.
The difference, though, I think, with our prime minister is that he became a celebrity because he was the prime minister. He didn't become the prime minister because he was a celebrity.
I wouldn't say that's true.
Because of his family name.
He certainly was a celebrity before he was prime minister. Yeah? He was certainly falling downstairs on Quebec television before he showed any interest in politics. So no. But he is obviously very, very different in very many ways, and also he has a relationship to policy which, you know, neither Trump nor Kanye does. But I mean, I think it's really important for us to understand that there's no going back here. Like, we're not going to go back to a world where, you know, celebrity is celebrity and just silly light entertainment, and policy is made by policymakers. Like, that's not the world that we live in. We actually live in a world of celebrity power, and, you know, particularly if progressive people want to, you know, have power in that world, they're going to have to get in this horrible, debased struggle.
But I agree. Like, this is a celebrity culture, right? With influencers influence. That's why they get paid millions of dollars. And if celebrities are going to tell us what to eat and how to dress, and if Gwyneth Paltrow is going to tell you to put stones inside your body that have no basis in science, then this is where we are.
And I don't think our bodies.
Well, no, not our bodies. Google it. You'll figure it out. But I think the difference is, and I have no issue with that, actually. The difference is on a day when 6 people died in Florida.
Sure, yeah.
Those are the things that we should be talking about, whether you're a celebrity or not. And the fact that nothing of substance came from that office, I think, is the biggest issue.
Reality gets sacrificed, right? Like, reality gets sacrificed, and instead you have these fantastic dreams that are navigated by people like Trump. I mean, it's very horrible, and I don't think. But I mean, my point really is more like in 2020, the Democrats really have to think about Oprah and The Rock, and they have to like wake up
to run against Kanye.
To run against Kanye, because like, you know, a decent human being who just knows what the right thing to do for the country. That we're not living in a world where that matters anymore. It just doesn't.
If you're watching your phone or computer and wondering exactly what's going on, this is the Pop Culture Panel from CBC, preview of what we're going to be doing on the National. We're live right now, and we're eager to hear your questions and comments. I do have a couple of them. Leanne Lewis telling us anyone can have an opinion, whether they're a celebrity or not. I have an issue with people sharing illogical thoughts, which is a point you guys have made. Kanye was all over the place, very nonsensical. And Shani, I want to direct this to you. Marianne Heineman Smith says, poor Kanye is sick. He needs help. That's where she ends her comment, but you know, some people have gone on to say maybe when somebody starts a rant like that, we should shut the cameras off because it's not fair to him.
I think we have to be really careful when we talk about mental health, because we are not mental health, or I am not a mental health expert.
None of us.
And none of us are. Yeah, exactly. So I think we need to be really careful in how we talk about his mental state.
In other words, not to diagnose it.
Not to diagnose it. And at the same time, he has been really open about being off his medication right now and talking about being misdiagnosed, actually during that conversation with Trump, talking about being misdiagnosed and saying that it was actually sleep deprivation, not bipolar disorder. So it does seem like he is bringing this up, and that is why it's part of the discussion. I don't think that he should be given this platform in general, because again, like, it just
goes...
So
by whom? The president or the media or all of us?
By the president primarily, but I think the media can make choices here, and I think that's a really difficult choice for us to make, because we are driven largely at times by clicks. You
know, supporting President Trump is not in itself a symptom of mental illness, right? Like, I think we have to, right? Like, when people say like, oh, we're like, we can't dismiss him in this way. None of us know what's going on. None of us are therapists. None of us are clinical psychologists. We don't know what's actually going on, and you know, we have to. But the thing is, we have to actually deal with him on the level of power that he has. And the level of power that he has is this power of display and presentation and performance. And so, yeah, we don't have a choice but to analyze it, because it is powerful. Because it really, you know, it is a source of power in the world. So
we are very eager to hear your comments and questions. And Paul Smith has said, okay, this is meant with respect. I love that. Rarely in the social media world.
Beginning.
No. Actually, as it turns out, it's a great beginning, actually, because it is a respectful question. Why do we value the opinion of celebrity more than we value the opinion of a professional or scientist, which is not a bad opportunity here to segue into Kanye West's the woman in pop music that he's inextricably linked to, Taylor Swift, because he's the guy that went on stage back in 2009 at the MTV, I keep wanting to say Much Music, at the MTV Music Awards, and said, you don't deserve this award. And since then, you know, their lives, their opinions have intersected. And it was on Sunday that Taylor Swift said that people should register to vote, because they have a different system in the United States, so you register long before the election. And she was supporting two Democratic senators from Tennessee. But does it matter? Should it matter if Taylor Swift is saying to her fans, which include you, Stephen, that if you were in the States, you should be registered to vote, and you should vote Democrat in Tennessee? Does it matter?
Well, I mean, you know, Taylor Swift refused to comment on politics. She was asked about it all the time, and her line was, I don't know enough, and I'm not informed enough to give an informed opinion. I think in 2018, no citizen of the United States, they're losing their democracy right in front of their eyes, and no citizen of the United States can refuse to take a political position, regardless of whether they're a football player, a guitar-playing singer-songwriter, or a banker or baker. So I just think it's a more human reaction than it is a power reaction. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is part of what she has to do to retain her dignity as a citizen.
Donovan, you're a thoughtful, well-read young man, but imagine yourself 10. I'm not setting you up for anything. I mean those things.
This is again like with respect.
Send that to me.
But 10 years ago, think back 10 years ago when you were that much younger. Is there any celebrity that might have gotten you to change your politics or get politically active in a way you weren't?
Yeah. Sadly, I probably would have said Kanye West.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
wow.
When you listen to songs like crack music, him talking about the crack epidemic and Reaganomics, like this is why it's really a tragedy.
Yeah.
Is because he actually had great power and had a great and interesting message, and
was so brilliant.
And he was, and the fact that he, around a decade ago, was the first and only one to say George Bush doesn't care about black people after Katrina, and then now, the day after another catastrophic hurricane,
Michael, yeah,
he's saying "I love you, man," and hugging Trump, who is
middle age. That's what happens to you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Your ideals just get ground into paste.
Well, but also.
Okay, I won't take that personally at all.
Well, but I think he also finds himself in a different class.
Yes, absolutely.
He doesn't live in Chicago. He lives in Calabasas.
Yeah.
He's not single. He's married to the Kardashians, and
and he's isolated. He's in a world of meaning that we can't really even imagine. He's a celebrity where the power of his slightest gestures is so intense and it has been for so long.
Absolutely.
It's
everyone around him says yes all the time.
Right?
His entire world is a spectacle, right? Like
yes,
whether it's in the Kardashian complex.
And he's been so intelligent about navigating that spectacle that's why he's kind of walked so deeply into the labyrinth that he can't escape, right? You can't I don't feel exactly pity for him, but on the other hand, I kind of understand why he would just go so far, because by going so far, by doing that thing about George W. Bush, which was so shocking, that he got very famous because of it, right? It helped. Mm-hmm. He was rewarded very. For saying outrageous things, he was rewarded very intensely. So has the President of the United States, right? Yeah. Like scandal after scandal, it just makes him more powerful.
Okay, so our last point here is actually, you know what? There's another comment, so let me just put on my reading glasses. Speaking of middle-aged changes here, Sandra Howie says, seems odd the president would even invite someone so unstable.
Well, it's certainly hypocritical, because when he's gone after people who didn't feel like he was the president for them. He went after LeBron James and his backers. Laura Ingraham said, "Shut up and dribble." Well, Laura Ingram's not saying today, Kanye, shut up and sing or rap or make beats. So it is very strategic, given that Omarosa wrote a tell-all book saying that the president is hostile at best to minorities. Well, this is a minority that seems to like me. It's mutually beneficial. Kanye wants a big platform. Trump wants celebrities to like him, and this one just happens to be black and gives him a cosign with that community.
Yeah. I mean, he takes everything that he can get, right? I mean, he's just he has no standards, and it's all just this moment, who's approving me, what's the approval.
And that's basically what the 10-minute rant was like, you're my bro, like, you're so great, I don't care what anyone else thinks, like, I'm on your side.
Yeah. Did you watch it live, Ashani?
I didn't watch it live, no. I was at work.
But why I think, well, yeah.
See, I'm at a place where you can be at work and watch it live.
Yeah. But why I think it's dangerous, though, is because the Alex Joneses of the world can say, see, look at Kanye, look at Candace Owens. They're saying this, so all of you clearly have it wrong.
Right. Yeah, but the Alex Joneses of the world, they would have found something else, too. You know what I mean? It's not like reality really makes a difference to these groups. Like they create their own fictions all the time. I mean, not to excuse anything. I'm just saying, is the danger more in the rhetoric in the United States is so insane at the moment in all forms that even a rant like Kanye West's, it kind of will just go into the ocean and disappear.
But the Stockholm syndrome of kind of falling in love with helps legitimize in his mind his argument.
I think it's Stockholm syndrome, That's interesting.
Let's finish with this completely different sort of topic. One of the things I find is that media is so fragmented now, so many channels, so many places to download stuff, that you often hear people recommend a show that someone else hasn't even heard about yet. So whether it's new or old, and your recommendation has been around for a while, but I want each of you to tell me about something that people should keep in mind as they consume pop culture. Your recommendation?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this show is a little bit older. It's called Atypical. It came out last year, and then The second season of the show just dropped in September. It's a show about a teenage boy who is on the autism spectrum and how he's navigating, essentially dating is the crux of it. But what I really love is second season, first of all, is it's really fun. It's really great. It's a good family drama. But in the second season, they actually hired 8 actors who are on the autism spectrum. And to me, that's a level of representation that we just don't see enough. So I'd love to see that more, and I would love people to support it.
But, okay, you love people to support it, but you watch it because you like it?
I love it, yeah. I binged it in a weekend.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. So you said Netflix for that?
Netflix, yeah.
Okay, and your recommendation, because we talked about this earlier, is a show I've heard a lot about but haven't seen. I should see it.
Yeah, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. HBO's The Circus. It's on in Canada on HBO Canada and TMN on demand. It follows the political process in and around Washington every week. Monday to Friday, they recap it for you by Sunday, which is crazy. Beautifully shot, and it takes great access and covers how the politicians are being covered.
And you, always being the outlier,
I want to give a minority report.
Have a recommendation of what we should watch, but instead, Stephen has a recommendation on what you should not watch.
I'm just going to tell you that you're never going to, I'm going to be the last time you're going to hear this opinion expressed, but I don't think A Star is Born is very good. Yeah. I think it's a melodrama, and I think the characters are not credible, and their story arcs are not credible, and I think the music is very poor, and I think it's just a genuinely bad film.
Have you guys seen it?
It will
yes.
win all, okay, so it'll win all the awards. Yeah, it'll win all the awards and blah 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 blah. But you know, it's just not a very good film.
So Lady Gaga's music in the film is poor?
Yes, definitely. So, but the other stuff's even worse.
You've seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. So keep going, because Shawnee's going to get the last word on this. Okay. So,
oh God. Okay, wait.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So we don't want to spoil the movie. So for those of you who haven't seen it, don't worry about it. But what do you think of that contention of bad acting, bad music, bad plot?
I didn't say bad acting. I said bad character.
Okay. Fair, okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
The acting is not bad.
Yeah.
I went in ready to hate it because I was thinking it's a cliche story. It has been told. This is the 4th time now. You know, it cannot live up to the hype. I cried. I loved it. I thought Lady Gaga is amazing. I completely disagree about the music. I think it's a must-watch. Everyone's going to be talking about it.
I do love. So I agree with the melodrama. I loved the acting and I loved the music, but I did find the plot a little bit, especially the way it ends, which I won't tell you what that is. Just seemed like a short story you'd write in grade 9.
Is it as good as Ballers?
Okay.
Oh boy.
This is
low blow.
No, I'm not embarrassed about this. There's a show on HBO with The Rock as the star called Ballers, which is kind of a, you know, an odd name, except it's about guys playing in the NFL, and he's an agent. I like it. Stephen is puzzled by this.
I want to do a half-hour show just on that.
None of you have seen it, right?
I've only seen the last, couple minutes.
Because you like the next show.
It comes on before Insecure.
Oh, Insecure, okay.
Which
and
is
you
also a must-watch.
But you work at Sportsnet.
Correct, yeah.
This is weird. Like, why wouldn't you watch Ballers?
Because I see it in real life.
Yeah, okay. And Stephen, you don't like it because?
Where to begin?
All right,
I
okay.
think I would have
you know what? Then we're done.
So what do you
like? Thank you very much.
I like Network. I saw Network 1976.
I was going to say, what about Broadcast News in 1988?
Oh, love that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's some.
This decade.
Sure. There's lots of stuff I love.
Yeah. No, for sure you do. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No names.
We have more to talk about next time, which is I think maybe next week, perhaps. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you said it, so it's
yeah.
true
Okay.
now.
All right. Thank you very much. So we may still be live, so be careful. But,
was that okay?
Was that what?
That okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Totally. Totally. It's
too
after
late
all.
It's too late now.
After all the